Now, that's for ministry purpose now, because now that he's getting married, he's moving to Mississippi. But I asked him, what you gonna do for ministry? And he said, I haven't got it all. Maybe God will tell me when I get there. He said, but I really want us to start the podcast. I said, okay, we'll do that. See, that's a transitioning phase. So now what he's doing, the people in Seattle who you help, now they got a platform that they can come to and keep up with what's going on. But not only do you keep up what's going on, now you'll be with a friend who know go. There's the connection. Even though I talk about it, I don't got nothing against it if you understand what you're doing. He been in theology school and got all the theology degree. I just went to the spirit. I know what happened to spirit. So just like Paul, whatever he says from a theology standpoint, I can see it from a spiritual standpoint. The persons that listen, you get the whole idea. That's all Paul did. He was transformed to give these new believers, these heathens, the whole idea. But his whole mindset, demeanor, and what he believed in has to be dismantled and rebuilt. So most of you are in a dismantling season so God can be rebuilding you. See, he got to let you know that you ain't saved. And now watch this. Don't take that as a slander that you weren't trying to know God. You take that, hey, somebody been teaching me wrong. I need the truth. So if I say you don't have a relationship with God, I mean that. It doesn't mean that you went searching God with your heart. The problem is the people that was teaching you didn't have God's heart. So to run into somebody like me is not only unique, it's not only powerful, but they're showing the grace of God that He puts you in place to an individual that's gonna tell you, uh-uh, it's more to God than that. It's more to him. He gonna say, that ain't the way you do that. That ain't the way you pray. That ain't the way you grow. See, we got to look at it. Nobody taught you how to get a relationship with God. They taught you how to act in church. Church is only like a jail. It's the holding place to God draw you, and thereby you got to have somebody to see which way God trying to draw you. And when they see what way God trying to draw you, then they can help you understand what God wants you to do. So when you look at somebody like me, and they might think I'm arrogant or whatever, when I say, yeah, I'm the best, yeah, I'm the go. What you got to look at is that when you leave me, you still got to be dismantled because now, okay, Diedrich taught me this. God, what you want to teach me? Because my whole identity is to bring you to him. Now you to him, you don't walk out and sound like me. You don't be like me. In fact, Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. What he's saying is that as I teach you Christ, you got to branch out and find what Christ wants you to do. See, everybody gonna be like me. Please don't, because I'm messed up now. I'm a terrible person to religious folks, but I do it on purpose because they think they know everything. See, watch this. So that's why you heard me say the other day, a lot of the people that I done helped in their ministry start, they still around, but they ain't got to come around. Because if God made them to go their way and everything okay, there's no need to come to me anyway. Now, every now and then, they may come around, man, I ran into this. What you think about this? Either I'm going to help them or I'm going to say, I don't know about that. If I don't know about it, it's because it's not meant for me to know. I only know what God wants me to know. So when you see that Paul says once he was saved, he did not immediately go to Jerusalem where the other apostles were. Because in that time, the key leadership was in Jerusalem. You had Peter, you had James, and you had John. So what would have happened if Paul had become converted and immediately went to Jerusalem with the other apostles? They would have viewed his ministry as just like them. See, the worst thing you can do after you call is say, I need a mentor, I need a cover, I need a spirit. So what happens, you never really understand what God wants you to say. Okay. He said, don't immediately look for people who look and sound like you. So when you hear me talk about my ministry, just like the other day, notice what I said when he called me. I said, I want my own revelation. I said, I want my own ministry. And I said, I don't want it. That's all I ask. So watch this. Subconsciously, whatever I was hearing in that church, I had been hearing for years, starting whenever mama took me to church. So when people encounter me, immediately they know I'm different. So I said, well, what you want me to do, God? He said, I want you to teach against everything that happens in that building. He didn't say church. He said that building. I remember what he told me. I laughed. I said, I can do that. You know why? Because that building, the church folk, was the place that I got treated like dog. That was the worst place. If you ever want to be disliked, go in that building. People in the street had more compassion than the people who's supposed to have compassion. I remember staying in Atlanta over off Keller Road, and I was walking to the store, and there's a little church up that hill. And I don't even go out like that. But this particular day, it was about 12 or 1. He said, go up to the store. I go to the store. It just so happened the church was letting out. Man, when I walked past that church, boy, I was being mean mugging. They were looking down at me. And he said, see, that's what I want you to go up against. I mean, they just coming out there praising, worshiping, hearing the word, and they see me because I ain't in no building. They immediately judge me. They immediately look down. That's why I talk about them like I talk. That's my job. I enjoy it. That's how some of y'all was and still is. So when Paul goes to Arabia first, he's establishing that the revelation I got didn't come from learning from them. See, the reason that you got to understand why Paul's writings were so powerful, Peter and them didn't automatically move in their God-given gift. And they was trained by Jesus himself. Paul did. Paul did. Transformation, center we proclaim.